Welcome to the Nerdlore podcast. We talk stories, theories, and lore. I'm one of your three hosts, Shiny Shoes.
I'm Crashstarling.
And I'm Skandle.
So today we're going to go over kind of what we feel are series or shows or media that should have gotten more life than it did. Specifically ones that were canceled or there isn't really a hope for another season. Candle's going to take it.
I am. I'm going to start this baby right. Okay, so the show that I miss the most that has been canceled um, is a great show. It's The Exorcist. It had 2 seasons. It's based off of the first season, kind of continues from where the movie, the original movie, um, leaves off. Basically, the whole point of this show is to follow two priests, right? One is the new priest that he's kind of what the Catholic Church wants. He's young, he's progressive, he's just what the church is looking for in a priest, right? But he has a past. He wasn't like always a priest, so he wasn't always celibate. Anyway, that's kind of like anyway. You get to learn that as the show goes. Then this other priest, I don't want to get his name wrong here, Marcus Keene, is in Mexico. So this guy, I'm sorry, the first one, Thomas Ortega, the young one, he's in Chicago. He's that's where this kind of takes place in Chicago. Father Marcus Keene is in Mexico City because he is like the Templar for the Catholic Church. He was raised. He was in an orphanage, but the orphanage was by the church, and there was only a select few people that they brought into this like a Templar Knight kind of thing. They got punished. They fought demons physically and like from a young
Oh,
age.
yeah.
They fought demons physically. They fought them, with biblically with prayer. Like, but it was like these guys were hands on. Let's take care of some things. Kind of priests. So anyway, this whole first season is kind of like the collision course of these two priests. And so this all takes place in the Rance. There's two kind of stories. One is in the Rance home where like they feel like there's like a presence that's kind of entering. The father has a really bad accident at work. Then the older sister who's in high school starts just staying in her room and not doing much at all. And then the younger sister starts hearing things in the walls. Um, as the show keeps going on, you find out that the grandma of this family was the mother of, I can't remember her name right now, but the girl who was possessed in the original.
The Carol Ann?
Yeah, so
Oh,
it,
towards the
the
light,
yes.
Carol Ann.
So I don't remember her name. Anyway, she is the grandma on this show. So that's kind of how it brings the old school exorcist into this whole story. Okay. The demon in this show for the first season is the same demon that possessed her as a girl. And like you get to see more of how that all took place and the things that she did before she went like full demon possession. Yeah. So anyway, this first season is that there's also a dark sect of the church that's not known to many people that is actually trying to resurrect Satan. So like you have this select few that are kind of bringing this all into Chicago and trying to have this satanic summoning to actually bring the Dark Father to Earth while the Pope visits Chicago. Like it's like so there's two big sides to this whole story, right? So I don't want to spoil much about this first season, but if you liked The Exorcist at all, if you were a fan at all of that movie, uh, I highly suggest this series. Now it's a TV drama, so it's not like full action,
Yeah.
all this stuff. It's a TV drama, right? Like that. It went up against This Is Us and gave it a pretty good run for its money the first year. That's kind of how good this show is. So, any quick questions? Move on to
Uh,
two.
So I was sitting there and I was like, man, I think I have seen this show. I watched the
Yeah.
entire first season and it was awesome. I remember I had like a couple sick days from work because I had like the flu or something, and it was on Hulu. And I remember
It's
just
still
starting
there.
yeah, I just watched it. I was like, as we were talking about, it, I was like, I remember all of this, and this was a great show. I didn't know it got
Yeah.
canceled.
Well, and we'll get to why it was canceled. But anyway,
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa!
so
I have a question.
no, I was just gonna say that the first season or the first and second season are still on Hulu. My guess is until the contract expires on that show, and then we'll get on to why that is. So go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry,
I thought you were
Crash.
moving on. My apologies.
No, it's all
So,
good.
so I was wondering if you haven't seen The Exorcist, say you don't watch many movies, does
Mhm.
this show stand alone? Like, is there enough
Yes.
content there to?
Yes. It's not like it's not like if you haven't seen the movie, you won't be able to watch this. It's not like that. If you see me
Okay.
keep looking over this way, it's because this is where they are on my screen. So I'm not trying to like not look into the camera, but that's kind of what you're taught not to do. Anyway, uh so no, there are parts that do kind of connect the shows together, but it is not. Um, I'm getting lost because you're putting Google shit up on your
I'm
screen.
sorry. I'm
It's all
sorry.
good. It's all good. So, yeah, so there are but they kind of foreshadow it, right? They're like, remember when this happened, and then they flash back. So like it's not like when they go to a flashback, you're gonna be like,
You're
what the
just,
hell's going on right now?
yeah, you're just expected to know what's going on. Okay.
Right.
All
No,
right.
it's I highly recommend this show, especially if you like TV dramas or any kind of thing that's kind of freaky. Because
It was
I mean, even
good.
like the whistling for the song is real freaky. Like it it's kind of creepy in its own right.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I remember watching that whole first season. I thought it was. I have a so in part of it, you called him the Dark Father. Was that your name for him, or do they call
That's
him
my
that in the
name for him
show?
because
Oh, okay, good.
I
I was
haven't like
like,
rewatched the show recently, and I can't remember what they actually called him.
I'm a big fan of
Uh,
Dark Father. I like that. Let's keep that going.
it's really funny because but whenever I first started streaming, I wanted to go kind of darker with it, and like you could do these things. Well, I wanted like the gambling site to be like you pray to the Dark Father, and he finds you worthier. And I wanted like dark candles and like this ominous thing where like I'm the Dark Father, right? But then it just became fun and silly, and we kind of changed all that. But that's where Scandal candles came from, was because I wanted it to be that was my currency, was Scandal candles. Uh, but it was because I was supposed to be this Dark Father figure. But the Scandal candles worked anyway. Back before emotes, we used Panic Basket whenever like we would get kills or get killed in H1Z1. That's an actual emote. Look it up, Panic Basket. It's the one where it's like the picnic basket that's on fire.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
Okay.
Sorry. Anyway, I went off completely off
yeah.
course here. So that's why the Dark Father just came off my head really fast because I never really got to the fantasy of being Satan. So in the so since there are no
No, that's a normal
questions,
thing. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Everybody dreams about that every once in a while. I'll do
Every
it.
once in
but
a while. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just like going through puberty, right? You're just
yeah.
like, oh yeah, Dark Father, that's me one day.
A hair on my
absolutely,
chest. Want to be
absolutely.
Satan. Same thing.
Yeah, I have goat legs. So anyway, so season two, these are all things that we're gonna edit out of here. Feel free to use that in the clips. I have goat legs. Anyway, back to this. The next chapter is what the second season's called. So this one doesn't follow the Rance family anymore. There's some good closure to that first season, and they did well not to bring that back. This one actually has John Cho. Is it Cho or Chu? Um,
The
you know who I'm
director.
talking about though? The actor from like Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, yeah.
He's played in a lot of other like TV series. I mean, he's a great actor. He really is. So this one is he and his wife run an orphanage on an island off of Seattle, like around Washington area. It's like an island off. Anyway, so they live on this island, and on this island, some crazy things have happened. Like one guy butchered his entire family. Like and it all stems from this well in
Whole
the
island
season.
stuff.
Yeah, right. Stop living on islands. Um, so anyway, his wife actually ends up dying, and so he's still going through this PTSD with his wife. Well, now creepy things are still happening on this island and starting to come to fruition again because it's that time of the year again. So now both priests from the first season are sent here to handle what's going on that on this island. And there's not a whole lot more I can delve into because it's this second season. If you thought the first season was good, this second season is like deep. Like it's there are so many things that like it just keeps going deeper and deeper and darker and darker, and you don't really even realize it's doing that till you get the ending, and then you're like, oh baby, was that a good season. um So
Dang.
I know in the first season I kind of had a lot more to talk about, but the second season I can't without giving you too much information, like without ruining the show for you. Please, uh, watch these seasons because if you are into this kind of stuff, don't watch them if you're like if you can't sleep after watching a scary movie or whatever, because this is not like in your face gore, but it's like mental like craziness as far as how that the reason this show got canceled was not because it was a bad show or anything like that. It got canceled because Disney bought Fox, and Disney said the show was too dark to have the Disney label, and so they
Could,
canceled the show.
could you imagine something so dark?
I just can't wait for the next Kingdom Hearts when they have The Exorcist in it.
Sora! Help, Sora! I'm possessed!
Why are you so good at that?
I don't know.
Yeah, right?
I don't know.
Practice that?
That specific line, yes. But everything else, no.
Yeah, I know that there wasn't much information on the next.
No, that's
chapter
good.
Was there
So
were there any questions? Or?
It's kind of sad that like Disney would get rid of something like that because I remember really enjoying the first season, and there's a lot of shows that came out during that time that hit the bullet early for a good show to hit the bullet, kind of bite the bullet. That sucks. And do you think there's any opportunity for that thing to come back?
Okay, so do we? I don't know if I really want to get into this. Disney has ruined a lot of good shows. As far as coming from like Fox and normal like TV. First of all, FX is a great. It was like this
Yeah,
amazing show that
FX
or
is
station
good.
that you could watch like some of the greatest shows ever because it kind of it overreached the you can't cuss on TV.
Hmm.
It was more of a drama intensive. You could get away with saying the S. I don't want to just say it because I don't know how family friendly this show is supposed
You
to be.
dropped it
But
earlier.
Yeah.
no, I didn't.
Yes,
Did I
you
really?
did. Yes, you did.
I've been trying so hard not to cuss so much.
You're totally
Why
fine.
is it
It's
so
okay.
difficult?
It's okay. People like it.
So they go off and they'll say those words. I don't think I've ever heard the F word on it, but it has gotten pretty close. I mean, it said a lot of other words. So, but it like breached that. We're gonna press our luck as far as we can. It did it with Sons of Anarchy, then it did it. Yeah, with anyway. So Disney's also ruined that series. But that's besides the point. Um, I really hope that Disney one day says, "Dang, we missed an opportunity here," and then allows I don't know Disney after dark or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like let's not go like I'm not talking like HBO Skinamax after dark shows, but like maybe at like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock or whatever, this other station opens up or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's
I get it.
primarily for these shows that are too dark or too aggressive for Disney.
Disney. I get it, dude. Disney After Dark. Oh,
Disney after
you want
dark,
to see my
baby.
nipples?
Like,
Tra-
you're
tra-
I was about to point out you equated it to them making like Disney porn. So thank you, Shiny, for putting that image.
It's supposed to be a family-friendly show. Do it again.
What again? Oh, perfect. Great meme. Top tier. Nah.
Okay, so that's it for me. If you
That
guys don't have
sounds
any more questions on it.
That's a good one. I did. You said that bad stuff started happening because it was that time of the year. Could you let me know when spooky time is? I wrote that down because I want to make sure I know. When does spooky stuff happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
October.
Back to obviously
right away.
spooky season. I forget. That's my bad. I should have known.
I should have probably maybe done some more research or
No.
rewatch the series, but like the amount of time we had to be like, okay, this is what we're going to talk about this week. I just kind of I can't remember. It's every so many years, like typical horror fashion.
Well, I think I'm gonna finish the second season then because I know I fell off because I didn't have a cold anymore. So just finish and watch it.
It's really good, and that John Cho, I mean, his acting ability is underrated. That guy is
Awesome.
He's an amazing actor, and he doesn't get the credit and maybe it's because he got typecast as Harold and Kumar, but I'm hoping that what he did in this series or in some of the TV dramas he's been in, they see that and allow him to get out of that stoner role. And yeah.
Yeah, I get that. All right, Crash. What are you sad that's gone?
So there was a time before the MCU where DC actually had much better media, but it was never like live action. It was cartoons.
Hmm.
So did either of you guys used to watch Teen Titans?
Yeah, the original Teen
Yeah.
Titans. That's what I figured you were gonna say because it was excellent.
I've seen a few episodes with my stepson, but like never like full on like followed it.
What I mean, the first like I think 3 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, were episodic. You might have like one run into the next one, but there's like no overarching stories, right? Until they hit season, I think it was 4, and they had a season 5. Both were like their own overarching stories. But I think a lot of people were confused when it got canceled because it was like January 16th, 2006, and they came out with the season 5 finale, which left us on like a cliffhanger of like we don't know what's going on. And it was thought to be like, oh, it's an ambiguous ending. Like there's no clear-cut ending. But I looked it up and I didn't actually know this, but apparently Cartoon Network had to cancel Teen Titans to salvage the shows meant for females and the female market. There was a season 6 already written, but the issue getting bigger. See, that's what confused me was season 6 was already written and they were ready to start making it, but then it says to the issue getting bigger and more major. I don't understand how having a bigger and major cartoon would stop you from making that cartoon, but I think it's more due to other projects.
It's unfortunate.
They came through eventually and rebooted that. Reboot is
Okay, I will give Teen Titans Go their only saving grace, which was their movie. They came out with a movie.
and they had the original Teen Titans though in it, didn't they?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I saw like half of it, and it was really funny, and then I didn't finish it.
Listen, this is their saving grace. I couldn't watch it, but that's why it was good.
Like I did my best. I tried to watch it.
I did my best, he says.
So like Shiny said, there's technically been a reboot for this, and there's apparently another one coming, but it's not the same original show. It's like most multiverse things where it's like not quite the Teen Titans.
Like it's hard to explain the difference, but Teen Titans was like a good animated show. Teen Titans Go is like the Johnny.
It felt like
I wouldn't say Johnny
fan-made
Bravo.
parody.
Yeah, like Adventure Time version of Teen Titans, except for not a lot of the good parts of Adventure Time. Just like it's there.
It was like Teen Titans in Adventure Time mode and with no soul. It was just making jokes about Teen Titans
all the time.
I watched one of the new ones with my stepson, and it was one about dancing. It was basically they were twerking on the show. I'm not kidding. I can't remember which one it was, but like it was about dude dancing, but his whole dance was twerking.
Can't wait to see that.
And even the song you were like, you know, my stepson is 7. You know what I mean? Like
he doesn't need to learn how to drop it low.
Yeah, like you know what? I'm not gonna go there, but yeah, like this, it is what it is. But he's 7, man. Like I'm also not gonna let him watch videos of girls twerking. You know what I mean? Like not at 7.
I get it. I'm with you. I'll watch it.
he's super excited. It wasn't any of the girls.
Yeah, they could have done a lot better, and I think a lot of people are pretty sad that the original Teen Titans. Did they put that on the DC app? Does anybody know?
The new streaming service they have?
Yeah, like DC has its own streaming service. I don't know if that was on there.
Lots of media coverage for that one.
Yeah.
They got Wonder Woman and Joker.
Hey.
I mean, they had a lot of great old animated stuff, but their live
No,
action.
the old school animated Batman was unbelievable.
I'll be honest, like I fell off of all the ones except for the Flash, and I don't keep up with the Flash like live action. I usually wait till it comes on Netflix, and then we'll watch the whole Flash thing through. But I think the Flash one's really good. My wife really likes Arrow, and we tried Legends of Tomorrow. It's okay. I didn't really care for.
It's not good.
Yeah, I didn't really care for the Supergirl version, but they do every year. They do a multi-series thing where like you have to watch an episode of Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, and like it all comes together. And I've watched all of those, and like you have to watch all because they all come Netflix at the same time. Basically, those are actually pretty good. Like when they all team up together and do stuff. But
I will say those were my favorite parts.
Supergirl was super awful.
I thought didn't it get better?
You can't even tell. I can't get into that show. The acting is so bad.
So to my knowledge, it got better when the CW bought it. When they were like, "Hey, we're gonna bring this over and put it as part of our Arrowverse."
Okay. Because I watched a few episodes and I looked at my wife and I said, I can't
do this.
This is terrible.
I cannot.
I tried, and I'm sorry to anybody who's in that show. If you ever find this in the archives of YouTube one day, if you're like hashtag Supergirl, and this pops up, I will apologize in advance. But God, it was bad.
I know that
I never watched it.
The first couple seasons, it just I don't know, it just felt weird, but it's gotten better, and the crossover episodes are great. I haven't watched enough of the series now to give you a hey, this is good or this is bad. But I also I don't hear anything about it from people that I know that something's keeping it on air. I'll tell you that. Maybe it's the other versions.
Teen Titans, by the way.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah.
I really liked Beast Boy. He was funny, and now he's not.
That's fair.
There was nothing else.
That was it. That was what you wanted to add about Teen Titans?
I just loved the shows. Like I liked how they handled comedy. I liked how they handled, light forms of like growing into adulthood because they're teens.
You think that it had anything to do with like that show coming out like during the golden age of Cartoon Network?
I want to say that it was like one of their best and most like it was their one of their like best grossing shows. Like it made them a ton of money.
You think about it, that came out during Time Capsule. Courage the Cowardly Dog was still on. Ed, and Eddie, Dexter's Lab. Those are all like on TV like as that was going. Johnny Bravo. So maybe just like that time was good. And you still had Toonami. So
I don't think it was more so much the time. So people who kind of grew up with those shows, for me at least, I was in my teens when like Johnny Bravo and all these shows came out, like early teens. Like I wasn't old, but like because I was so into a lot of the earlier ones like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the X-Men and these shows that would come on TV whenever I was a kid, it was nostalgic then, and then the shows were great. So I don't know, man, maybe it was because that's kind of that age group. That's why it blew up so much, because they were in the same boat that I was in. Like I thought they were great, but it also brought back memories of watching cartoons as a kid. I don't know.
But it was a great show, and it's gone. We don't know. Maybe we'll get a reboot. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be on the DC app.
The reason it got canceled is because of feminism? Is that what you said?
No, it was like... It just says that they were trying to salvage the shows made for... Jesus. Words. They were trying to salvage the shows meant for females and like the female market. And I guess the Teen Titans were supposed to be like marketed for boys and girls, but it wasn't like girly enough.
Yes, they had shows coming out at the time that were for female oriented. They were trying to gain a bigger market share there.
Girls?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
I watched Powerpuff Girls.
I thought Powerpuff Girls was a great show, but it was targeted more towards. Yeah, it was definitely supposed to be for girls, kind of like My Little Pony.
What are you talking about? My Little Pony market is definitely for little girls.
Yeah, it sure is. That was the intention. Anyway.
You have to cut that
We'll go
out.
to the next topic.
Yeah.
Let's go to the
Okay.
next topic.
All right. So I'm gonna end it, and the show that I'm gonna talk about, I really had trouble picking between two because there's two that I really like, but I think the one that I will say over all of them, there was a show on Netflix called The OA, and this is a very recent show. It's not old. The second season, I think, released actually last year or the year right before that. It has 2 seasons. The third season, they came back and said, we're not going to make a third season, even though the second season ends on a massive cliffhanger. Basics about season 1. So you kind of, it's a mystery, a sci-fi mystery more than anything. There's this girl, her name's Prairie, and she's the main character throughout both seasons, kinda. And what happens is they find her basically walking on a bridge, and she goes to a hospital. Her parents are like, hey, you know, what's up? What happened? Because she's been missing for a long time. A very long time. And she was blind. Well, when they found her on the bridge and everything else like that, she had regained her eyesight, but didn't have a lot of memory of her parents, anything else that happened. So in the very first episode, and I like it when shows do this sometimes, the first episode was crazy long. It was like an hour and 40 minutes, and the rest of the episodes are like 40 minutes. Because they're trying to get all this story into the first episode. You find out that she was a daughter of like this Russian mobster. And in order to get back at her, the Russian mobsters had her car attacked, like to get back at her father. Their cars attacked and went off a bridge with a school bus full of children. And she was like one of the only ones that survived. But she was technically dead. So visited the other side, if you will, or whatever they consider the other side in this. Well, as you go through the show, you begin to meet more characters, and the show is told from her telling a story. She's telling a story to a group of kids that she has gathered to help her accomplish a task, and this is pretty... I don't want to ruin it, because if you do watch it, that's a big part of the show, what they're trying to do. But she tells the story of how she was captured, basically kidnapped, how she got out of that. And that's what the first season revolves around, is those individuals trying to do that, and then her trying to save the other people who were kidnapped with her. See, there's some question looks.
So why is she trying to tell a story about? I guess you can't really say a lot about it.
And spoilers, if you're gonna watch the show, this may be a time to step away for a second. Because she died, she has connection with the next phase of life, if you will. So everybody else that she was captured with had died at some point in their life and came back. Well, their connection, the bad guy, yeah, he is aware of this connection. So what he would do is he kidnapped them, and he would basically kill them and resuscitate them over and over in order to get this kind of information from them. And I guess some of the things so it isn't thought that they're basically necessarily going on to like a heaven or a hell. The thought process, they are moving between dimensions. And they're infinite number of dimensions. And think of it like like a butterfly effect type thing. Just one decision made differently in this timeline creates infinite timelines. So the doctor knows that those people that experience death can travel between timelines if they acquire a certain set of skills. And the first season is about those skills they're going to acquire.
Is this where Liam Neeson's from?
Listen,
I have a specific set of skills.
I have my daughter.
Why is Liam Neeson a cowboy now?
Yeah, he wasn't. That was just a bad accent.
My bad. That one's on me, everybody.
But yeah,
So the first season revolves all around that. It's got a really a bunch of unknowns. Their biggest actor is Phyllis from The Office. She's actually one of the, like, I would say more main characters. She gets a bigger role in season 2, but in season 1 she's in there, and the show really drives on the relationship that these individuals build together over time. And then the end of season 1, I remember, so me and my wife started watching it, and we basically got through the first episode, and we went to bed because it was late at night. And I remember we were kind of talking about it, texting back and forth throughout the day, and she's like, I really want to know what happens. I don't know why. She's like, I was on the fence while we were watching. She's like, but I have to know what happens next. So we got home that night, we watched the second episode, and before we knew it, we were pretty much done with the whole first season in like 3 days. And they're like long episodes.
So can I just say what would have been really cool with this storyline?
Go ahead.
Is this story she's telling to these kids happen to be the kids and her that fell into the water and the kids in the bus that crashed?
That would...
Tell me that wouldn't be badass.
That would be cool.
Like this story.
And we still don't know what's going to happen because the third season is probably never coming.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm just saying that sounds
so
like that would be like...
one thing that we do know about that is, like, you can travel to a different timeline, yes, but you cannot. When you travel there, you inhabit the body of you in that.
Okay, so you may not actually be the same person.
Let's talk about season 2.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So season 2 starts off. Prairie, the main character, has shifted, so she is in a new dimension now. Basically,
it's her but new body.
Correct.
Got it.
She does not remember anything that was happening from this timeline.
She got her eyesight back.
Sorry. So also, while it's going well, so the series is premised on these movements, and it's basically a dance, and each character learns a step to the dance during their NDE, their near-death experience. So there's a really cool scene where they're putting this all together, where all the characters, so they're captured in this giant kind of aquarium. Basically, it's a big circle aquarium, and each character has like their own little triangle cut out of it, and they can see each other and talk to each other. And each one is realizing, hey, this happened to me, and this is what I keep seeing. So they all learn this dance, basically, because each step is a different part of the dance, and the dance has abilities. That's what helps them move through the dimension. It also has crazy healing abilities. So, we never get explained why it 100% has those healing abilities, because we feel maybe it has some effect on time, but we never know, because, again, they don't explain it throughout the 2 seasons. They explain bits and pieces. They're just giving you little parts of what's happening in this overarching story. So season 2, she's in another body. Well, the bad guy, Hop, bad guy, yeah, he is also in the new dimension. The only problem is he has a lot more power in this new dimension. He is a lead psychiatrist at this like crazy prestigious mental institute, and he realizes that some of the characters that was with him had transferred over. They're in that dimension with them because they don't know how to control it yet. They don't know how to control where they go. They just leave and go. Well, he realizes one girl does it. She jumped. The problem is the body she jumped into now is pretty much brain dead. Like, it can move and everything, but it doesn't communicate very well. So he can't get information from her. Another one of the guys that jumps, he jumps, but he loses his memory of what happened in the previous dimension. She jumps, the main character. She doesn't know what happened in this dimension, but she gets captured, basically put in a mental institute where they begin to find out more about the steps and the movement. especially how they are basically at a point back in time now because they learned all the movements. Yeah, I know. All the movements they learned were movements that they had learned from things that happened during this timeline. So, like, the one guy has a move where he basically, it looks like a grab down, and he goes basically like that. Well, in there's a giant fish tank, and one of the guys reaches into the fish tank, grabs the fish, eats it. So, it's crazy. You meet a new character, well, two crazy characters in the next season. So, one is a lady, and it wasn't part of the first season, but she is aware of the ability to skip through dimensions. All the other characters had thought you needed 5 people to do the dance to get them to the next dimension. This lady literally has this little like robot, this kind of like robot, and the robot, it just rolls out onto a table and it does this dance signs so she can do it by herself. She just moves through dimensions as she wants. Well, you go through season, it all kind of accumulates with you learning that the girl, Prairie, the reason why it's so easy for her to jump and everything is because they refer to her as the OA, or the original angel. And this is like a celestial power to be able to move through these dimensions like this. And then some more crazy stuff happens. And then season 2 ends on a cliffhanger. And then
They cancel it.
Let me just tell you what it says. There will be no 3rd season for the OA. Netflix has opted not to renew the mystery drama series that reunited Sundance veterans Britt Marling and director Zal Batmanglij. The majority of Netflix original scripted shows last 2 or 3 seasons. This one was canceled after 2. Why did they cancel it? Due to the show being canceled, Hap has a way to help repress Nina inside the OA Britain by saying she just misses the character. So a lot of the people from the show want the show to go on, but Netflix just basically said no. I can tell you that I've recommended the shows to a couple friends, like just some close buddies of mine, people that they're movie files. They like watching shows like that. Every one of them that I've recommended it to, they've like binged the whole show in a weekend. They're like, wow, this is really good. And the problem is, like, we were talking about a lot of things, like even with that DC app, there was no coverage for this. People didn't know what the show was. Like, it just literally, I didn't remember ever seeing a commercial for it or anything on Netflix. And then one day I log into Netflix and it says, oh, the OA, new Netflix original. I said, well, let's watch this. And it was amazing. Wish it would come back, but I don't see it unless somebody invests money. Happen. I know I'm assuming there's questions because there's a lot going on.
There's too much. This is like when the teacher just fills the board up, like, all right, any questions? Wipes it all off, because I was just
or as they're drawing it, they're erasing it with their stomach.
Yo, I'm telling you, if like, it's so hard to explain 100% what's going on in this show because so much is going on, and you would think like there's not really a lot of it's not like an action-packed show. It's just a drama, but there's so many storylines happening at one time, and you're just like, okay. And then really good shows that really draw you in. Like the last 2 or 3 episodes, you're watching it and you're just like, oh my god, that makes sense now. That's literally the entire season. Things like that are happening. It's like, oh, they did that because of that. I can't recommend it enough. But if you do watch it, I'm sorry, there won't be season 3.
All right, yeah, I don't have any more questions, man. Like I'm enthralled.
I kind of just
want to
go watch the show now.
But like I don't have any questions because I don't want to ask questions that are going to give away anything from the show that will ruin the experience. Which is that's kind of how I feel about the show I liked. I feel like you don't want to ruin that for people. So
I will say this. So the final episode of season 1, when everything's coming together, it's been I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you. I'll just tell you, like, have you guys ever watched the movie V for Vendetta?
Oh, yeah.
It's my all-time favorite movie.
This guy over here.
Listen, I'll send you a copy.
Thank you.
I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah. November 5th, it'll be on FX all day. My absolute favorite part of any movie ever is when the detective is sitting down and he flips up his little device so they can't listen in on him, and he explains to the other detective exactly what's going to happen. Like, you know, boom, 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 and he plays it out, and then the guy's like, well, what happens then? He said, well, then all he has to do is keep his promise. And, like, at that point in the show, it brings everything together. I haven't felt like that with a show since the OA. That is literally the first time where I watch a show and I'm just like, oh my god, everything's coming together right now. So it's really good if you like mystery and stuff like that. Follow through. I gave you some plot points, but there's still so much more that I can tell you, but I can't. So,
I just want to ask, is OA an anime? Because it
No.
sounds like an anime.
That would be awesome. There's a
Would it?
there is a character in the second season that is a it's out of anime, I'll tell you that. The character in the second season, very much so. But you'll have to watch that to find out. So you will love it. It's great. So that's what I got about the one that I wish time to watch.
Okay. Is that everything? I think we got them all.
I got one lightning round question if you boys are up for it.
Heck
yeah, sure. Lightning round. Let's do it.
So really quick, think of one show you wish you could cancel a season from. Yeah, you like that?
Can I just cancel one season or multiple seasons?
If you cancel the first season, that's the whole show. So
what if can I just say it stops at this season?
Yeah.
I got mine.
Okay.
I got mine. Oh. I mean, I know what mine is. Go ahead, Shiny.
Supernatural. It ends on
Which season?
It ends after season 3.
Oh no. Oh no. Nope. You are so wrong. No, dude. Look.
The first 3 seasons were perfection.
No arguing.
Perfection.
You're so wrong. Okay, so
I've watched them all. They're great, but
the only thing I will say about the Supernatural. Sorry, I know this is lightning round. I wish that at the end of this previous season, before the last season's about to air on Netflix, I wish they would have said when he said, "Fine."
Okay.
It's fine. It's over, right?
Yeah.
I wish they would have kept along with the biblical, because he's supposed to be God. I wish they would have gone biblical, and all of a sudden you saw Dogwood, the asteroid, or whatever, to like start.
Yeah.
The end times according to Revelation. Like that would have been.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been better than being like, let's bring everything back.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a great show.
Okay.
Love the show all the way through, but
if you can get past the fact that they are both from, like, one's from Days of Our Lives and the other one is from what's that show back in the day with the 3 girls who were witches? Charmed. Yeah, that's where Sammy comes from. Anyway, so if you can get past especially the first season, the corny acting and the obvious, this show doesn't make enough money to do what it's supposed to be doing, graphics, like effects and stuff like that. It's a great show. Just give it a little bit of time to get used to the kind of show it is. Anyway, sorry, lightning round. For me,
like, do we need to look up what lightning round means?
No. Sorry. And then for me, my show, I'm a huge advocate for The Office, but I feel like I don't want to take anything for the fact that the show kept going on strong. But I feel like when Michael Scott left, that should have been it.
End of season 7. That would have been a great end. Wow. Do you feel like the end is really good though? The final.
I do. Yeah. I like the way that they concluded everything. Yeah. I feel like that episodes where Andy is trying to do these actual movies about the Hangover and stuff like that, so he's in and out of the show, but he's the man. And like it just, I didn't think it was not funny. It just wasn't as good anymore.
There are some great episodes in there in that season, but I agree. I think most people would agree with you, but I think the ending made up for it.
Absolutely. I know. Okay, Sean, tell us yours.
I never watched The Office.
Oh
But,
my God.
Jesus.
I can't do this
Christ.
podcast. I got a guy who doesn't do Zelda and another guy who doesn't do The Office. What am I feel like I'm in a nightmare. Sorry. Anyway.
So mine was I would love to cancel 13 Reasons Why or whatever it's called.
Oh,
Oh, the
did you
Suicide
watch
Show?
it? Did you watch it?
No, I watched one episode. And I was like, nah, this is garbage.
Ooh, you should watch it. You should watch it.
I am an advocate for that show to disappear
Forever.
forever,
I'm just-
entirely.
It caused a lot of suicides across America.
Yeah, because the reason for that is because they were like, hey, we're gonna include all these themes in our new show.
That
about
happened to
suicide.
everybody in high school.
Yeah, and they're like, I don't remember who they contacted, but it was like a high authority in like suicide prevention, and they were like, don't do any of this. This is actually a bad idea. And then they were like,
just
well,
did
we're
it.
gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, I will
You
say
don't deserve the show.
that is a fucking emotional roller coaster that
Whoa.
show is.
Whoa, we dropped
Fudging.
the F-bomb in this
It
one.
is a fudging emotional roller coaster.
We're gonna
I
need to
think
get a beep button.
I think it should have ended after the first season. Man, though, woo, that show that had some feels to it. I agree. All right, so that is the end of our podcast today. You guys can find us on Spotify at Nerdlore. We are also on Podbean, and you can find us on Twitter at Nerdlore Podcast if you want to reach out to us. Also find us on YouTube. And about it for us.
And please, in the YouTube comments, tell us what shows you think we should watch because they're amazing. Please tell us if you agree or disagree with our greatest shows that have been canceled, and please give us your lightning round question for which show should have stopped at a certain season, and please send all the hate mail you can about these two just not being true Americans.
My best. Yep. If you got good ideas, good questions, stuff, or if you're a nerd yourself and got a lot of information about things, come on the podcast and just let us know. This has been Nerdlore. This is Shiny Shoes signing out.
This is Crashstarling signing out.
Skandle, baby.